everybody. Let's quickly talk about the Prophecy 4 or Uprising. I guess they dropped the number because no one's going to see part 4 if they haven't seen part 3. 4 seems to be the number in franchises where the number just disappears in every franchise. Hellraiser 4, I think they dropped the number. Hatchet 4, they dropped the number. Call of Victor Crowley, it seems like number 4. That's when the number goes away. Friday the 13th, part 4, it's not called part 4. It's called the final chapter. But yeah. Yeah, I'd rather talk about that than this movie. I'd rather talk about franchises where they don't say numbers no more than talk about this franchise because I'm sick of it. 4 movies in a row. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's the same fucking story. Like these movies, especially this one, it's just more focused on story, and I don't care about this story. This one, once again, is about angels that are pissed at God, hate humans, call humans monkeys, want to get rid of the humans, but to do so, they need to get rid of X, Y, or Z. Like in the first one, they gotta get rid of this little girl for some reason. I forget already. And then the second one, they need to get rid of this chick who's pregnant with this hybrid, this half angel, half human. So, and that was who they were after in part 3, was that kid. He was born at the end of part 2, and in part 3, they wanted to kill that kid to succeed in their plans and take over the world and blah, blah, blah. And it's the same story in this one, except now they have to get this special book called the Lexicon. And it's a self-writing book. It's writing, it has all the information about how the world's going to end, blah, blah, blah. And they need to get this book for some reason because that's going to help them defeat the humans, I guess. So there's nothing to say about this movie. It's awful. There's no positives. I mean, the acting's fine, but it's just shit. This movie looks awful. It has nothing going for it. It's shot back to back with part 5, so I know part 5 is going to look just like this movie and feel like it and just be just as miserable as this one. It's completely dull. This movie doesn't make you really laugh. It's not trying to be funny. If you laugh, it's unintentional. So it's not trying to be funny. It's not trying to be entertaining. It's not trying to be scary. There's nothing scary, no creepy imagery that I saw, nothing suspenseful, nothing remotely intriguing, nothing at all. I gained nothing from this experience. There's nothing here. It's just the same fucking story, but different characters going through the same shit. Angels trying to get to this person because of reasons. It's just the same thing. You got Satan in here, played by a different actor this time. They try to bring back Eric Stoltz, who played Simon in the first one, except now, well, they couldn't get him back, so now he's just like this beam of light, some kind of hologram in this one, but it's the same character. They couldn't bring back Christopher Walken. They couldn't bring back Steve Hittner, or whatever his last name was, the mortician Joseph. They couldn't bring him back, but I think there's a little cameo from him via chat room. There's a guy in the chat room whose username is Joseph1995, and the first movie came out in 1995, so I think that's what that was. This movie looks like it was made on a shoestring budget. The quality, the look of it, the atmosphere. What atmosphere? Nothing. They don't spend nearly enough time on characters for me to like them. There's nobody that stands out in this movie. One of the main characters we're following is a shithead. We find out more about him as the film goes on. That makes him even more of a shithead. And then you got Kari Wuhrer. She's from all kinds of movies, but she was in Hellraiser 7. And they even borrow an image from Hellraiser 7 and put it in this movie. And it makes no sense why it's there. It makes no sense at all. And it's just, that made me laugh out loud. So that's the one moment of comedy from the whole film. And it's unintentional. It made me laugh because I was like, really? They just stole a screenshot from Hellraiser 7 that they were shooting in Romania as well and just threw it in here. Because this is creepy imagery, right? It blew my mind. I mean, same production company. You got Miramax and the Weinsteins producing this just like they did the Hellraiser movies. And those were all straight to DVD garbage. These are all straight to DVD garbage at this point. I doubt this got a theatrical release at this point. I mean, the 4th movie in here, I doubt these were theatrical releases. Maybe the first one, maybe part 2, but I doubt this one was a theatrical movie. And another thing that connects us to Hellraiser is you got Gary Tunnicliffe, if that's how you pronounce that name. doing the special effects in here. But what special effects? What, the guy who got shot? That's the only special effects really that we get in this movie. And the other ones, you got to see hearts get ripped out. In this one, we just cut to the aftermath and there's just a hole in people's chests. So there's no violence in here. There's no carnage candy. There's no real good special effects. There's nothing in here. Like, literally nothing. This movie's soulless, lifeless. It leaves you just emotionless. You're just bored. That's the only emotion you feel while watching this. It's just boring. I don't want to keep beating this dead horse, but it literally offers you nothing. It's all story focused, and I don't give a fuck about this story because it's the same one from 1, 2, and 3. Do something different, for crying out loud. So, final thoughts. Fuck this movie. Fuck this franchise. I don't think anyone's watching this at this point. No one's watching these franchise reviews because no one's heard of these movies. And now I know why, because they're garbage. But if you like them, good for you. Maybe you're just a fan of fantasy horror. You like the angel movies and whatnot, but it's not up my alley. I don't care for this subgenre of horror at all. I wouldn't even consider this a horror movie because there's nothing in it that's horrific at all, other than the idea of the world ending and angels taking over, sure, but does this movie execute that story on a horrific level and actually build suspense and show creepy things or anything? No, it doesn't. It does nothing. So fuck this movie. It's poorly shot. It's poorly made. Poorly everything. Besides the acting. The acting's fine. But other than that, the rest of it just sucks. So when it comes to Prophecy Uprising, this movie is wasted time. Should I even bother going into a spoiler discussion? Sure, why not? So one thing we get in this one that's not in the other ones is angel vision. Kind of like the Predator. It's got his own special vision. We get that here, but it just looks like it's all blurry. So it's like me looking through my one bad eye. So I can relate to angels. I mean, how can this guy get anywhere with that type of vision? It's just all blurry. So anyways, we see the main character in this movie is a crooked cop. He finds drug dealers and robs them of all their money and stabs them with a fake knife. So you can only do that so many times before they're onto you, right? Like, I know, you're that cop with the fake knife. You're not going to mug me this time. I got a real knife, motherfucker. So just a quick question for you Catholics out there. I'm not sure if that's the religion in this movie. I'm pretty sure. I don't know religion that well, but I thought the whole, like this thing, it was like up, down, left, right. Am I right? Or am I wrong? Because that's how I see it in most films. It's like up, down, left, right. And I think there's even a line in Live Free or Die Hard, or no, Die Hard with a Vengeance, with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis, where he's like, what's that Catholic thing they do? And he's like, north, south, west, east, I think it's up, down, left, right. But in this movie, they do it the opposite direction. They keep doing it, like up, down, right, left. Isn't that wrong? God's not going to listen to you when you're doing it the wrong way, all right? But whatever. So, see, that's all I can talk about in this movie. It's stupid shit like that. It's sad. Another little thing that's different here, because I couldn't get Christopher Walken back, we got body swapping in this one. You got a demon, I forget the name, Jezebel, whatever. I'm sure that's wrong. In fact, I know it is. We got body swapping, so this demon just puts a finger in someone's mouth, and he can like go from body to body. At first he chooses this smoking hot lady who's like a nurse, and then he goes into like an old mortician. It's like, oh, why? And then he goes to like this person and that person. It's like, just be the lady and walk around naked the whole movie. Make this movie a little bit more interesting. We get the whole monkey thing brought back. They keep calling humans monkeys. And there's this woman getting attacked by dogs, just being ripped apart. Not literally, because there's no gore in here. But then this woman comes up to help this woman being attacked, and then we find out that the woman being attacked is the demon who just betrays this, woman trying to help out, betraying her trust. What a bitch. And I guess the dogs they work with the demon? Whatever, I don't care. We see Simon, who's just a figure of light. He's like a light shining through the room. And then Kari's character, who they don't focus on nearly enough. We don't know shit. I don't know anything about Kari's character in this movie. At the end of the movie, I'm like, okay, all I know is that her parents died. Cool. And she has voices in her head. that just keep guiding her throughout the whole movie. It's just very convenient. Why does she get this voice in her head? But whatever, it's just a movie. There's a scene where a hobo just walks up to the cop car, puts his hand on the window, has like missing fingers. He's like, "Why'd you chop off your fingers?" He's like, "Because that guy told me to." That guy being Satan. We find that out later on, which is pretty fucking obvious. And so, in the other movies, to knock people out, you just you shush them, or you touch them on their head, and they would just fall down. In this one, if maybe I didn't see it correctly, but it looked like she put her finger in her mouth. This demon puts a finger in this person's mouth, and that person just drops dead. So that was interesting. And this is the moment when we see that screenshot from part 7 of Hellraiser Deader, and I have no idea why it's there. What is that even supposed to mean? And then another thing they bring back from part 3 is the whole eyeball licking thing, where they just walk up to someone and lick their eyeball, and you see like their memories from like the past hour or so. It's just another little continuation, little element brought back from part 3. And then she becomes a mortician. I talked about that. And then we see this, what I'm thinking is Joseph, the mortician from the first 3 movies. I'm thinking this is him on his chat room. It's called Joseph. The guy, his username's called Joseph1995. And at first I thought, I was like, wait, is he getting a bunch of information from a 10-year-old on the internet? Because that's what this scene is. It's that cliche, like, I gotta go on the internet and look up all the answers. It's a scene in every fucking horror movie nowadays, especially for like the last 20 years since the internet became a thing. Or 30 years, whatever. Not gonna get into it. So at first I thought, I was like, wait, so this cop, whose username is a cop, all caps, he has to get all this information from a 10-year-old? Wow, you're pathetic, buddy. You can't even get the information on your own. You gotta rely on a 10-year-old source. But no, I think it was Joseph, the mortician, in the first 3, which makes more sense than a 10-year-old. Because why would a 10-year-old know all that information about all these angels and demons, whatever? So, and then we get like this ghost ship flashback where the guy's walking around this abandoned like asylum or something. I don't know what it is. Some kind of headquarters. Maybe it's like this ex-politician's place. I don't know. But it's like ghost ship where he's like seeing all these past events unfold in front of him, but they can't see him or interact with him, which is one of my favorite scenes in Ghost Ship. But it just reminded me of that. And so we find out that this piece of shit cop that we're following throughout this movie, who was in Dog Soldiers and Howl, 2 werewolf movies, he turned his parents in and got them killed. And yeah, so he's a piece of shit. Yeah, that Kari, I think her name's Allison in this movie, that's his sister. Oh my gosh. And really, he's the only character with like any kind of arc in this film. He goes from piece of shit to piece of shit, apologizing, trying to make up for it by just saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, sister. That's really the only character arc we get here. He's trying to be forgiven for all sins before he dies. And we get Doug Bradley in this movie. I forgot to mention that. He plays like a detective who goes between languages throughout the movie. Like, everybody in this movie speaks English and Romanian. Why this movie has to take place in Romania, I don't know. I guess it's just a budgetary thing, right? They had to make this movie in Romania because it was cheaper. Therefore, we're going to have the whole movie take place in Romania story-wise. We're not going to pretend like we're somewhere else. And then everybody's just going to be conveniently speaking English when they wouldn't be. And then they're just going to randomly go from one language to the other within the same, like, dialogue with this guy. Like, they just keep going back and forth. It's like, pick a language and stick with it. Makes no sense. But Doug Bradley's in here, and he ends up getting, like, possessed at one point. There's a funny scene in here because I think it was unintentional. Like, the main guy, he gets so mad that he grabs his sunglasses and he like puts them on so aggressively that he breaks one of the like legs off of it, if that's what you call that, the leg of it or whatever. He breaks one of them off and then he just puts them on still, even though it's like broken. And then as he's walking away, he just takes them off, throws them. I thought it was funny because I'm thinking like that was probably an accident on set, like he wasn't supposed to break it, because when he does break it, he kind of looks at it like, oh shit, wasn't supposed to do that. So that was the only moment of true comedy in this movie. But I did like the scene where the demon just randomly puts a heart on this girl's plate and gets himself arrested. I'm not sure what the hell he was thinking. And blah blah blah. Doug Bradley possessed, shoots a cop, walks out of the station. Easy peasy. It's easy to get away with crime in Romania. And the voice in Kari's head tells her to go to this place. She goes to this place where her parents were killed, and it's so evil, has such a horrendous past that it's now like Satan's playground. He can control that area. It's like a safe zone. This other demon can't touch Kari in this location because of convenient writing, I guess. So, yeah, the building's like her safe zone, but if she leaves, it doesn't matter if she has the book or not, this demon can kill her or take over her soul. But then the Satan, he absorbs this demon's soul in him, walks out, then she walks out with him, and then he shows her like future events, like warning her of what's to come if she fucks up, I guess. I don't know. This movie just sets up another movie. It's like a stepping stone. It's like, here's the story we want to tell, but first we gotta have this movie to set up that story, to set up that movie that we want to make. So we gotta make this movie first, though. It's an incomplete film, too. Just another thing that sucks about it is that the ending, it's just like, oh, we're leading to this, and it's not even a complete ending. So, yeah, this whole movie is just frustrating because it just is soulless. It's so dull. Anybody still here? Like, did anybody like this fucking movie? One person did. I did look up IMDb, saw one review from a Romanian who gave it a 9 out of 10. Jesus Christ, a 9? For what? The story? That's not 9 points. Sorry, it's just not. I don't get it. Like, if this is a 9, what does that guy think Hereditary is? I'm curious about that. What does he think movies that I think are 9s are? But whatever, no awards here. Fuck this movie. I'm done talking. I seriously do not want to talk about this movie anymore. So those are my thoughts. Hate it. I'm sure you figured that out by now. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you love it? Explain yourself in the comments below. Maybe shed some light on why, and tell me why I'm wrong. Whatever you want to talk about. So yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Alpha Feeders.